Well, happy Friday to all. It is another weekend, and it is also another edition of the Speaking For Him podcast. Thanks for hanging out. It's Adam McNutt alongside the host of the program, Mr. Andrew Gomison.
Hello, Adam. It's great to be with you, and you may notice if you're listening to this podcast on any of your devices or on the computer that the title of this show is Life with Riley, and you may be wondering what that's about. And I'll get more into detail about that, but I will leave you hanging for just a second while Adam gives us the quote of the day.
The adoption took time. The love arrived instantly. And that's actually from an unknown writer.
All right. Well, the reason that this episode is called Life with Riley is about a year ago, Adam and I had the privilege of having two of my friends, Dave and Laurel Dykema, into the studio to talk about their adoption journey. And at that point, they were still raising money for their adoption, had no idea who their baby would be or where their baby would come from. But a few weeks ago, that changed when they welcomed their baby, Riley, into their home. And I may be able to get a picture of Riley for the blog post. We'll see if we can work that out. But I'm very excited to report that they are over the moon excited to have Riley with them. And I actually told them as part of this interview that one of the cool things is that he actually looks like he could be their biological son.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of cool. But I come back to this because, as you know, the sanctity of human life and issues related to it are very important to the Speaking For Him podcast. It's one of the reasons that we exist is so we can speak to these important issues. And so to give Dave and Laurel a platform where they can share their story and so that you can see that adoption is a loving option, I couldn't be more excited to be here to share with you another interview. Now, due to scheduling, they were unable to join us in the studio, so I pre-recorded this interview that we're about to listen to. But we'll roll the interview, and then we'll come back and get some thoughts from myself as well as my co-host, Adam. So let's roll that interview, Adam. All right, well, it is my privilege to once again be on location for an interview. This time I'm recording from my home studio, and I'm very grateful that Dave and Laurel Dykema have taken time once again to speak with me. If you remember, a little over a year ago, they were on talking about their adoption journey, and now they have their baby, and we will get into some of the details of that. But first of all, guys, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
All right. Well, can you kind of give us a brief timeline of some of the stuff that happened after you were on the show last?
Yeah, well, wow, over a year ago, a lot has happened. We finished our fundraising over the last year, a lot of generous donations, and we also did some fundraisers, and those turned out great, and we also were placed on a waiting list last summer. And that means that we were done with the paperwork process and the interviews and everything with our adoption agency. So at that point, we were placed on a waiting list to see when we would be picked to parent a baby. So we put together a profile book for birth parents to look at, and it took almost an entire year of being on the waiting list. We had several possibilities pop up over the last year, but none of them really took hold until our placement with Riley.
All right, so can you tell me, first of all, Dave, and then Laurel, just tell me what it was like to get that call that you were finally getting your son.
Oh, it was a real surreal moment. You know, the first call we got actually was from a birth mom, and our social worker, she said, a birth mom would like to talk to you and Laurel. And we said, fantastic. It was the first time we actually got to sit down and have an interview done. And what really gave us a lot of confidence was our social worker said, you're the only couple that the birth mom would like to talk to. So we thought, boy, that really gives us a great chance to end up with a baby. to pursue a different option. So we were actually in Frankenmuth hanging out with some family the day that we got the call, and our social worker called us up and said she's decided to go ahead and place with you. So congratulations, you guys. And
Yep.
I remember giving Dave a big thumbs up because I'd taken the call, and we were both just smiling. And she said a lot of other things, but I don't really remember what it was that she said. So we were just so happy and so excited that, after really a 2-year wait from when we had started the process, that he was finally going to be coming home.
All right, so how long was it between that time and the day you actually brought him home?
It was, how long
About
was
a week
it?
and a half.
Yeah.
It was about a week and a half, which is kind of unique. Since Riley was already born and he was already with a foster family, he was ready to pretty much be picked up within that week and a half.
We did get to go and visit him before he was actually placed with us, but we needed to sign some paperwork and take care of some other things first. And so after that was all finished, then we were able to go and actually take him home. It was really hard to just go and visit him at the foster care placement and be like, well, there's our son, but we can't take him home yet.
Yep.
But yeah, then we just were waiting for everything to get set and finalized, and once it was, we picked him up as soon as we could.
I know people who have had international adoptions who've had that experience on a grander scale, so I can kind of get a little picture of what you're talking about. Just because I can't imagine, making a long trip or even a short trip to see your child and then have to leave him even for a few days. But how is he doing? How is he adjusting to your home?
He's doing great. He's gaining a lot of weight. Over the last 6 weeks, actually, we've taken him in for a few doctor's visits, and we found out that he's gaining about a pound a week. So he's gained 6 pounds over the last 6 weeks. He is a healthy eater.
Yep, he's
thriving.
good.
Yeah.
Yep. And he's kind of found his home here. I think after the first couple days of naturally being in a new place with new surrounding people, after being with the foster family he was with, he settled in really nicely, and he got to sleeping good at night, and I think he's really settled in now.
Yeah, he wakes about every 4 hours now. It started out about every 3 hours, so we're getting used to the sleep deprivation. That's been a big change.
Yeah.
But really, we're so happy, and we would go through a lot more than that just to have our son home with us. So we're just grateful he's here.
Oh, I'm sure you would. What are some of the other big changes that are kind of different? Maybe is there anything that you didn't expect going into this?
I would say for me, the biggest thing I didn't expect was really how emotional it ended up being. When we brought home Riley and he was here, and his first night here, it kind of, the 2-year wait, kind of all just came to a head right there and right then, and we got to see Riley here, and it was just kind of a surreal moment that he was now here and he was our son, and,
It was really emotional for us.
Yeah, kind of hit me, but, with, working, and I'm grateful to have Laurel here at home. We're able to kind of tag team and take on all Riley's needs, and, just adjusting to parenthood is definitely a life changer. It definitely changes your life.
Along those lines, how can we specifically pray for you as you continue the beginning of this process of being adoptive parents?
Well, for me, I know definitely the biggest thing that has helped me is our church family and the prayer from friends like you and from everybody on the podcast just praying. And it is, I guess my biggest prayer is to just help. I know I can speak for Laurel as her as a mother and me as a father as we raise Riley to instill the values of the Christian faith the best we can. Obviously, right now, our main goal is just to keep Riley well-fed and well-slept, but very soon, before we know it, people tell me that he'll be asking questions and growing up, and we just ask for prayers that we can be strong Christian parents in this day and age where things are kind of scary out there for Christian faith and people and ideas, and we just want to, myself personally, want to stay a strong father in that regard.
I couldn't have said that better myself.
Absolutely. Well, we'll definitely pray along those lines. Is there any other specific things that people can do to help adoptive parents? Maybe it's not so different from other parents, but anything other practical that people can do to help you?
For me, I would say one thing that I really appreciated was the constant support and just encouragement that I got. I would say if you know somebody out there that's going through the adoption process, just saying, hey, thinking of you, praying for you is really just goes a long way. Just the practical application of saying, be excited along with them to just say, we can't wait, and we can't wait to see if it's a boy or a girl or what he or she's going to look like, and we're right alongside you with this journey like you've been doing, and the people in the podcast have been praying. We really do feel that. So I would say if you do know someone going through the process, a simple word of encouragement really goes a long way.
Yeah, definitely.
And
that's been a big thing for us, especially, our church has been so supportive, and, if we didn't have a lot of updates for them, but we would have people almost every week walk up to us and say, so how are things going with the adoption? And it was nice to know that we were thought of and supported, and our family and friends too, and, that even though it's a long process, that there are people who are waiting alongside us.
well, I gotta say that one of the most exciting things for me when I saw the pictures of Riley was how much he looks like he's your son. Like he doesn't.
I know.
People have said that. A lot of people have said that.
A lot of people have said that especially that he looks like Dave, but yeah, it's amazing. God works through all these little details, and we were excited. No matter what he looks like, but it's fun that he has blue eyes like Dave right now and brown hair like me. So it'll be fun to see as he changes and grows and what he's going to be like and what his interests are, and it's a lot of fun.
And as you were talking about fostering his spiritual development, how cool is it going to be to talk to him in the future about his gotcha day and then relate that to the fact that he can be adopted by Jesus?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that we've thought about through this entire process is how, God adopted us into his family and how excited we were and are to welcome a baby in just like God has adopted us.
Well, thank you so much for this time. Were you going to say something, Dave?
Oh, I was just going to pretty much just follow up, same thing, saying like we're excited to make the adoption process a real illustration for Riley, talking about God and Jesus and how we're all adopted through him in a bigger, more spiritual way, of course, but it's definitely an illustration that will hold true.
And I'm sure you're very thankful for Riley's birth mom who made the decision to choose life. And so for anyone out there that may be contemplating what to do in a crisis pregnancy situation, I just want to encourage you. There are many other couples out there like Dave and Laurel who are waiting for their baby, and maybe your baby can be that baby for them. So please, if you need help in this situation, you can go to rtl.org, which is the Michigan Right to Life website, and they can help you with any of those decisions that you need to make. But life is definitely the best decision that you could make for your unborn child.
Absolutely.
So, well, thank you very much, guys, for allowing me to take this time to interview you and giving us a follow-up. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, it was great to catch up.
Have a great day.
You too.
All right, and there you have our latest interview with Dave and Laurel. And depending on the roads that this podcast takes, we may follow up with them again from time to time just to see how things are going. But at this point, thank you, Dave and Laurel, for taking the time to share with us. And again, this to me is where the rubber meets the road in the pro-life movement. Because a lot of times, pro-abortion people will call us pro-birth, but not really pro-life. Because they claim that we don't care about the baby once it's born. But that's not true. And, the older I get, the more I find it likely that I could end up in a blended family situation where I'm raising someone else's kids, and I would be very open to doing that. And I'd also be open to adoption as much as I desire my own biological children, because I know that there are a lot of kids out there that need homes. And they need solid examples and a solid foundation from which to grow. And so if I'm thankful for what I have received in the foundation of my home, then I need to be open to the possibility of extending that same courtesy to someone else who is less fortunate. So, with that being said, we're about to wrap up our show, but Adam, do you have any thoughts on the interview and what we've talked about today?
I am so glad we got to catch up with them. Like you said, we had them on the podcast like a year ago, Andrew, and then I have been friends with Laurel on Facebook. So I've been getting updates as the process has gone along. I've been able to pray and see what they're asking for prayer for. And it's just been so cool. Like, even though they were talking about going through the adoption process themselves, you kind of feel like you were riding along with them in a way to see how the story unfolded. So I've loved seeing how God has been faithful to them, because I know they were praying like so hard for this. And clearly the door's been answered. It's been open. And now to see from here as the little guy grows and to see how that story unfolds too, it's awesome. Adoption is just as beautiful as an actual birth.
Well, and we here at Speaking for Him are very clearly and very vocally Team Riley. We're very excited for Dave and Laurel and Riley, and who knows, maybe even more children down the road. But whatever God leads them to do, I know that they will be seeking Him first, and that's what's so exciting about Dave and Laurel, is to hear their story and their passion for the Lord. And for them, that means taking in a child that is here because his mother chose life and then chose adoption when she realized she couldn't take care of him. So that's something to be grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we need to be praying for as we're moving through these difficult waters. Because it is a situation that many people find themselves in. As I said on the recording, if you need help, you can get resources and referral help from www.rtl.org. And kind of as a side note that's not directly related, a lot of people talk about how healthcare services would be taken away if we defunded Planned Parenthood as a nation. And I just want to throw here as a tag on the end that there are so many pro-life, life-affirming health centers that offer most of the same health procedures and health help that do Planned Parenthood without the threat of abortion.
Yeah.
Because their focus is on life. So just keep that in mind as you're dealing with people about this crucial issue. And also keep in mind that Right to Life of Michigan and organizations like it, they exist without tax funding, because states do not want to fund organizations that are pro-life. That's just the facts. So they need donations from you and I and support from you and I to make them work. So just make sure that you keep that in mind as well. We'll have a link to the website, rtl.org, and also I believe we'll throw a link up there for Bethany Christian Services, because I'm fairly certain if we go back to the last interview, we'll find that that's where Dave and Laurel got their adoption done through, and I will confirm that before sticking the link on there, but I'm fairly certain that that's the case. So we will make sure that those links are available for you. And I think that's all we're going to say this week. But just continue listening and continue praying for us. We don't know exactly what is around the bend for the Speaking for Him podcast, but we are excited to see God moving and working, and we hope to be able to move forward into the future with the confidence that God is still allowing us to minister through this door. So thank you for listening every week. Make sure you tell your friends and family about it. Make sure you contact us with any feedback you have with the contact information that's about to roll. And with that, I'll say, have a great weekend and keep serving the best of masters.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Your host has been Andrew Gomison, founder of Speaking for Him, alongside his co-host and executive producer, Adam McNutt. For more information on today's show and to leave us comments and voicemails, visit speakingforhim.blogspot.com. You can find Andrew's ministry at speakingforhim.com. That's speaking, the number 4, HIM. You can also interact with us at facebook.com/speakingforhim and on Twitter @speakingforhim. And when you look for us on iTunes and Stitcher, let us know what you think of the podcast by leaving a rating and review.